Today, I'm having a conversation with one of our experts, Karen, who's the founder and CEO of FIO. Karen brings over 25 years of sales leadership to clients across North America and the UK. So she draws upon some of the best sales processes and tools from her corporate experience, and she mixes that with her formal education, her business acumen, and the result is a highly effective revenue operations and methodology that the entire team at FIO shares with clients. So Karen's also an Elevate contributor. So Elevate is our online course for business owners, and it covers topics from A to Z, and it's all valuable information that will help you thrive. So thanks for being here, Karen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Pascale. Nice to see you.
Likewise. So tell us a little bit about FIO Connect.
Yeah. So I have to tell you how we got the name, and I'm telling you that because it started out as FIO, and it happened because I was trying to come up with the name for this consulting service and this boutique offering, because I've been working with small businesses and came from large corporate on the sales side and thought I got to bring this to the small business world and make sure that we give sort of the same structure that comes from corporate, but helps them with their growth. And I was walking along the seawall in Vancouver and trying to come up with the name. So I said, it's got to be simple. It's got to be short and sweet and say what we do, because what we do every single day is we figure it out. We work with people. We help their growth. We help their sales strategies, their marketing strategies. And I wasn't able to come up with the name. And so finally I went, how can it be this hard? I've got to be able to figure it out. It's what I do. Figure it out. So it actually is Figure It Out, FIO. And then I changed it subsequently to just make it easier to roll off the tongue. So I now say FIO. So it's FIO Connect. And FIO is our little hub of where we help strategize with mostly small to medium-sized businesses that are looking to grow. A lot of companies that we work with are in that sort of mid-range where they've been around for a while, they're trying to scale up or something's changed with their business and they just recognize that they have some revenue problems. And that's where we come in.
I love that. That's an easy way to remember what it stands for. So that's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so I have been in the sales world forever. I actually started selling something to somebody when I was putting myself through university, and I was selling pots and pans and popcorn and makeup and whatever I could, because it actually put me through my schooling and my business education. So that was my first foray. I didn't actually go to school to be in sales, but I did learn a lot about business and commerce and accounting and all the usual conventional business courses. But selling just was sort of natural to me, and I didn't understand why it wasn't natural to everybody. And I recognized quickly that there are a lot of systems and processes involved in doing things well. And so as I progressed through my career, I spent a lot of time selling in media space, in fact, with Bell and with CTV and with large publishing houses. And I recognized that success came from being methodical and systemized and organized. And of course, time management's a big deal, but the number one thing that mattered was being real and authentic. So that goes into a lot of sales training. The thing that I focused on was the underbelly of it all. We can train ourselves in how to sell better. We can use methods and words, and I've read every book sort of on the shelf. But if we're not sort of backing ourselves up at business level and at management level and thinking through the executive fundamentals of what the purpose is and what we're really authentically trying to do in the world, and how we create the right vision and core values and words around what we're selling, and bring that value to the table, and really take a look at how we're managing the process of doing that, so that we have accountability to our sales efforts, and so that we have you know, a real growth plan. What's the point of just going out and spewing words? Let's be methodical about it, and let's be you know, intentional with representing the company from sort of the inside, from the heart out. And that's the only real way to be authentic. So that's sort of where I landed, from corporate into helping small business in that way.
And I think that's what that makes you unique. And I think it's so important and neglected. And I think from a purely retention standpoint, I think if that piece is missing, if you have great salespeople, but they're not feeling connected and what the bigger purpose is, you will lose good salespeople. And now you're just spending a lot of money hiring salespeople constantly. And some corporations, they do that, right? They're constantly hiring, which is a bad sign.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting. A lot of times companies that I work with, companies all the time, where the owners and managers and executive teams say, we don't even know if we have the right people.
Yeah,
And
scary.
people leave, and there's turnover, and then there's, you know, there's strange things happening with trying to manage, do we even have the right people? So I think that's where, you know, my focus is on really evaluating the sales team, the sales people, the sales processes, and really helping those fundamental pieces be stronger, so that you do definitively know by the end you have the right people, or you can get the right people, because you're very clear on what it is you need.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think creating culture really starts with knowing what culture you want to create, and then you hire people that fit into the culture. I don't believe you can hire someone and then change them to
So true.
into something that they're not. So
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I know there's a lot of work among our peers and inside of your Elevate Learning Center about culture and about, you know, strength on the business side. It's critical for sales, and so I support all of that and work tightly with all of that.
right. And you know, the old adage, it's nothing happens in a company until somebody sells something, right?
Right?
Yeah. So what is your approach when you're working with clients?
Yeah, so traditionally, you know, it's kind of, it started out as very conventional consulting, coming in, doing a little bit of an audit, evaluating the team, seeing what is what might be the blocks inside of the sales process, whether it's people related or process related. I end up spending a lot of time at executive level, because again, that's where the heart of the company is, the mission, the values, the, you know, even the corporate goals, annual goals, the strategic planning. If that's really clear and understood, then that I spend a lot of time translating that for the sales process. So conventionally, it's consulting up front. I have created some really unique tools and processes to help do that quite fast. And so I just finished writing an ebook for now. I'll publish it soon in hard copy, that just gives a sales leader, usually at executive level, so the owner or the CEO or the CFO, gives them some actual tools that they can either pass on to management or they themselves can use to create great accountability and visibility. So my working with a client starts with an audit, gives them direction, and gives them tools and systems. And then depending on what their needs are, it'll sort of evolve from there. Usually an engagement with a business client will be anywhere from a month to 3 months upfront. And that seems to be pretty standard, because inside of 3 months, we know what's wrong, we know what needs to be fixed, and we can develop a plan. And then oftentimes I stay on for a little bit to help either find the right people or to really get the processes and systems moving in the right direction, because a lot of it is a little bit of change management. So I'll help with that as well.
Well, I think that's huge value. I think there are too many consultants that show up and they generate a report, and then that binder sits on the shelf and it doesn't do anything because they don't know how to execute on it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, there's no point.
yeah. So I love that you have the ebook coming out. I know you have a lot of tools on your website. Are there any other products or services that you offer?
Just through our network. So our little team does the consulting. Inside of that, we will see what the gaps are. We'll identify the gaps and very clearly say, you know what, you may have a people gap. You may have a systems gap. Maybe you're not, using a CRM properly, or maybe there's no good transfer of information or tracking of your sales efforts or whatever. So then we'll dip inside of my network and our network and make sure that we find the right people who can set things up properly. I'm very careful about who I vet and very careful about budgets. I'm a budget person, so we take a look at how to make sure things are the right fit for that company. And I also have sort of an extension of my team that very specifically will do marketing advising and some of those brand basics that we talked about and those culture basics. So yeah, so those would be the services. It would be audit first, figuring out what you need, and it's all about revenue. Where is it? How do we get it? Who are the people? That's me first. And then we'll start to introduce whether or not there are other services we can bring to the table. So
that's a lot of value, and that saves a lot of time for busy business owners when you know people and they're vetted, so on and so forth. So what type of businesses benefit most from your services?
Really good question. We find that the types of businesses that we sort of hyper focus on are the ones that they're not giant corporations. They're probably small to medium-sized businesses that have been around for, a couple of years, up to 20 years. I work with companies that have been around for 15, 20 years that have stagnated or that are just trying to scale up. I find that we do work best with owners, CEOs, CFOs, and exec teams because they get it. They want that visibility. They want growth. They've got corporate goals. I also find that we work with really well with the technology sector, energy, new energies and energy alternatives, and service companies in the energy space, really important. Some of the financial products and financial service companies that are either growing too fast because it's a fast growing industry, or they just need some support with how to systemize their outreach and sales efforts. I have done a lot of work with the media companies, travel, tourism, small manufacturers, and a lot of B2B services. So anybody that's very B2B, yeah, we can dig into that.
Wonderful. And what do you see are the top problems that businesses are experiencing right now, and how do you help with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Everybody that finds me tells me their top problem is sales, and they don't know how to articulate it more than that. So
Right.
I find that the top problem is they don't have visibility into what their problems are, and therefore they're struggling with sales. So I've broken that down. Actually, in the book, I broke it down to 5 sections. And the 5 sections are simple because that's where the problems are going to lie. So it's either inside of your business fundamentals that we talked about, those cultural pieces, or it's inside of your planning, your forecasting, maybe some of your numbers or your compensation plan or how you've set the team up. I will dig into that, and I'll take a real deep dive into compensation, and are we motivating people right? Do we have the right, are these realistic numbers? Does this make sense? That's a big thing. Not a lot of people spend enough time in there. And then I go from that sort of underbelly into the people, and I'll take a look at the team or the sales. Sometimes it's one sales person, or a team of 3 or a team of 8 or a team of 20. Are they the right people? Are they equipped? Are they trained? Do they have the right attitude? It's not just cultural alignment, but are they in and of themselves the right fit for that product or service conversation that they need to have with the target client? And then I go from a people evaluation into then some of the nitty gritty of sales, which is just the product offering, the sales material, the collateral. Are we presenting it right? Are we saying the right words? Do we have the right rhythm to our sales cycle? Do we have the right pipeline flow? and that kind of thing. And then the deeper extension of all that, when often I'm asked to carry on, gets into a little bit more of the in-depth training. Like, how do we really present the value of what we're trying to sell? How do we really present these numbers properly so that budget becomes no object for the buyer? How do we do that? And that's
Right.
a little bit on the training side.
Well, I've found from my own work experience that sometimes there's a real disconnect between sales and marketing. I've always felt they go hand in hand, and had issues because the marketing team produced beautiful collateral talking about something that prospects didn't care about. So I'm like, why don't you listen to the feet on the street? This is what
Right?
clients are saying they want, and then work something beautiful around that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I've often seen that be a problem. Yeah.
It's huge. I do spend quite a bit of time too understanding what what they're currently doing, not just to drive new sales, but to keep the
Oh,
current
yeah.
customers, right?
Yeah. No, that's big. I think it's less expensive and less time consuming, I think, to keep your happy customers happy than
So
the
true.
effort and cost to get new ones. So how can a
Yeah.
business contact your team?
Oh, that's easy, through you and through your lovely world, or definitely just go to our website, which is fioconnect.com, FIO Connect.com. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, easier to remember.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. So to finish off, I have one last question, which is completely unrelated to sales and processes.
Okay.
If you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
It's funny. I was asked a similar question, not exactly having dinner, but in an interview once 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And the answer came so quickly, and I know why now it came so quickly, but I'll give you the same answer. I would actually have dinner with my dad. And the reason is not because he's famous, not because of any magnificent thing done, but because I watched him evolve all of my life, and he constantly grew and constantly learned and constantly took his own career one step further. And he would pivot. He started out as a teacher and taught high school math for years, and then he went into real estate after he retired, and then he went into the stock market and became a commodities broker.
Oh,
and
wow.
then he became an advisor to training brokers. And I just watched him pivot and grow, and he still to this day in his 80s is just absorbing every day, things from technology to market and analytics. And I just think, man, how does he how does it keep expanding? How does he keep doing that? And I love that inspires me. So that's who it would be.
Well, I think that's amazing. I think it's something a lot of people don't do. But I love that lifelong learning and having that hunger and thirst for doing more. So that's amazing. So, well, thank you, Karen. And to everyone listening, thanks for watching and listening today. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
Thanks, Pascale.